Life has been crazy, just wanna be okay. How can I pick up the pieces when everything breaks with every day? I'm getting older, I feel the weight upon my shoulders. I'm strong enough, I'll rise above. It's all gonna be okay. If I can be anything, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me. Nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. Everything's changing, just trying to navigate. Oh, I keep on believing I'm gonna find my way with every day. I'm getting older, I feel the weight upon my shoulders. I'm strong enough, I'll rise above. It's all gonna be okay. If I can be anything, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me. Nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me. I think I'm gonna be me, me, me. I know I gotta be me, me, me. There's nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me, me, me. There's nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I gotta be
Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is FHumpires, FHU third team, and it's chaos. Hi. It's been a very, very busy week of hockey. I hope you've been enjoying everything. We are almost at the end of the 2023 Pro League season, and I know nobody cares. Okay? I know nobody cares about what actually happens in these games. Good news is neither do umpires. Okay? But what we do care about are all the opportunities that we've had over the last several weeks, and we still have over the week coming up to continue to learn from the exceptional people who are at the top of the game. So I hope you're taking many opportunities to get involved and hear and watch and do all the learning things, because let me tell you, if I'd been able to watch this much hockey when I was coming up through the ranks, I think I could have been better. I think it would have been there. Good to see everybody in the comments, but we have a very busy show. So if I don't thank you individually right now, it just means that you're just going to have to give me some comments later so that I know that you're around. And my sound is too low. Let's see what I can do about that. I'm very quiet. I don't want to press that button. Maybe I want to press this button. How is this doing? Am I louder now? Let's see how we're doing. Thank you, everybody, for letting me know. I might need a little bit. Oops. Let me know if this is working. I can hear myself better too in my in-ear monitors. So I think you're all onto something there. I think you know what you're talking about. Hang on. And I'm going to switch this around because it's not a good look. It's not a good look. Much better. Okay, so I figured it out. Yes. There's always something. There's always something. Okay, let's get on to the topics. I want to try to get through 8 topics, 10 clips, and I've got some rapid fire afterwards. Wish us luck. We are going to talk about some danger on goal, shadowing inside the 5 meters. I hope you're keeping track. Take notes. Stick on the ground / obstruction. Maybe they're both things. Where is the free hit taken from? aerial into the circle, a diving attacker, danger on a swing before a goal. We've got 2 clips for that one. Can you cause danger to a teammate? And maybe extra time. So let's see how we get on with all of these. First topic coming right up on here, danger on goal. Let's have a gander at this bad boy.
He takes this one on. It does go to Cunil. Little switch, but it's not a good one. But then he falls as far as Gonzalez. Gonzalez into the circle. Banastra winds one up. Good defense from the Optimal over the top and in. And it's the man. Okay.
So Netherlands, Spain, this was early in the game.
Could you please check the high ball
And we do have a video referral on this.
A free out. My decision is that the ball rises on the defender's stick, and that's why I play it.
Okay.
It wasn't a very good penalty corner routine to start with. And they're looking for danger. The ball's up there.
Comes off.
I don't see anything.
It comes off Balk's stick.
Yeah,
It comes off to Moll's stick.
All right, so as you
then
can
up
see,
off
it comes off the
Balk's
defender's
stick,
stick and it rises
That's the
towards
top, and then in.
That's
the
goal.
Spanish
Far
attacker.
into-
The Spanish attacker then
Herman,
is
there
able
is
to
no
take
clear reason to change your decision, so the goal stands and they lose their
is able to take
referral.
1 or 2 cuts at that ball and get
Okay,
that
so-
headed into the goal. So, as you saw in the comments, we have a little bit of a different system this week because we have so many poll questions potentially. That's not even all the topics have a poll. But if you'd like to participate, I'd like to hear your input. And if you're watching this on replay, you're going to be able to come back and have a look at this as well. It just means that you're going to have to pop into our amazing Discord server at the address that is in. You can follow that for a direct invite link. I've made it as easy as possible. All you have to do is set up your account, agree to the rules by clicking on the little checkmark emoji reaction, and then you are able to access the polls. So please go have a look at that. That would be really fun to have your involvement. And on Replay Squad, you can keep going back for the next week to have your input and see. So when we're breaking down this kind of situation, we talk very frequently about how danger is relative to levels of play. And as that may be considered to be inconsistent for some observers and say, if the ball's in the air, if it's at head height, it has to be dangerous. And we want those black and whites. That can be reassuring, but just as frustrating, I think, for everybody who participates in the game, because black and white does not mean fair, it does not mean safe, and it doesn't mean it's best for the level of hockey that's in front of you. And all of us are there to facilitate the best game of hockey that we possibly can. So in this kind of instance, you're going to look at a few things. You're going to look at the relative crowd that's around the area of the ball. There's quite a few players there. You're going to want to look at the speed at which the ball is coming. And that's also relative to the skill levels. All these things are relative to the skill levels of the players. The speed of the ball, what direction is the ball coming from? Who is nearby? Who has caused the initial raise of the ball or the action that took the ball into a dangerous position? And I think what's distracting here in this moment is that the touch that comes off, I think it's 13 there, of Spain, that swing from his stick is actually quite controlled. And it's actually the swing that comes from the goalkeeper. Piran Black tries to slap this right out of the air. I'm sure if I were a goalkeeper, I would try to do exactly the same thing. So the danger look to this play actually comes from the defensive team, who also was the team that was responsible for putting up the ball. So there's 2 ways you can handle this. You can look at this maybe as being a smart play to call it down early, but given that the advantage should continue, that you want to give advantage, which is the best result to the team that did not foul. I really like the play, the continuing in this situation, and trusting the players at this level to do the best they can to be safe. And if anybody actually takes it a little too far, it is the goalkeeper there. So I'll look at a couple of your comments here first, and we'll have a look at the polls if anybody's been able to sneak in and have a look. We've got 8 votes so far, which is fantastic. So keep getting in there. Those of you who are already in the Discord server are definitely have a leg up here. So go take advantage. Hi, Gary. Good to see you. Oh no, Kat is, trust me, she is not out of a job. She is doing so much in the background to make sure that this all goes off, but we are trying to find ways that actually she can do a better job and keep up with all the things that are happening. Okay. So let me know if you have any questions about this, any kind of other concerns or anything like that. I think it's a good referral to take in this instance. Why not take a stab at it? But I think if anything had happened, what they would have done is, if it had been overruled, it would have gone back to the initial action that caused the danger, which is playing off the defender's stick. So these sometimes can be, what's the best way to describe it? Sometimes you just get lucky. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being lucky in these instances. And we want to, in instances where competition levels are high, we want to give the players the opportunity to compete. So I like that there. Joltacola Evil, who I think is New Zealand. Have I got that right now? Because you mentioned that you'd seen a turf, and I know it was New Zealand. So if I've gotten that right, Jolt, let me know. It's also sneaky to wig. What? What? It's like, you know me. I'm always sneaky. It wasn't the the worst referral the past few days. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, it is one to give a shot at. And in the confusion in the moment, I think what I'd like to see is more of an acknowledgement that things are happening so quickly, and we get to watch this several times in real time and slow down and different angles and all that sort of thing. And the players see it once, as do the umpires. And so if players could understand that challenge and that their perspective sometimes is incredible and they have a view on it that umpires would die to have, and then sometimes it's not, that would be very, very helpful, I would think. You are. There you go. You're up at 6 a.m. Okay, Joel, I'm going to be so much nicer to you in the future because I would be so cranky. All of these people in the chat, they know how cranky I am at 6 a.m. There you go. And Jamal was full out on the Golazo. Okay, I'm going to go for a 2-minute warning on this and see how the poll is doing. This is a new system, friends. Let's see what happens. If this works. Oh, it hasn't refreshed. Let's see if I have to refresh it, if that's gonna. Okay. Of course, I can't see it there because it's too small. So let's see if I can pick it up on this screen. We have 11 votes and 73% of you are saying play on the advantage to the goal. And 9% of you would have gone for the danger. 9% of you would have tried to call it down for the danger. Look at that. Look at that really cool pie chart. Do you like that? Please let me know. Give me your feedback in the comments. And 9.9% of you, 9.09% of you went for the unnamed option. What was that? Is that my fault? I don't know. Yeah, it is risky. And I think at anything other than this level, you would have grave concerns and reservations, and you might be taking different actions in order to make sure that everybody understands their responsibilities here. And that includes nobody beating each other up, nobody ever doing that again, many things like that. So there you go. You've done that before and felt guilty afterwards. Yeah. And that's the thing, is that when you haven't had the presence and the experience to be in those situations at those levels, then we can make mistakes. So good to know. And Kat likes it. Yeah. You like all pies, but complete the charts. Okay. Thank you very much. It is 20 minutes in, so let's keep moving on to our next topic. Oh, actually, let's go on to an announcement, because I still like to fit in these things, especially for good causes. So first of all, we mentioned this last week. Hamish Kinloch is Kinloch. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Hamish is doing umpiring wrong because he's playing. But we can share the news that Hamish has just officially been named to the under-18 Scotland team that will be going to the under-18 European Championship. So this fundraiser that is being held for the team is even more important now. We're still mad at him, but we're going to support him anyway. So please go have a look at that. And if you are a person like me who believes that umpires develop better when they have the opportunity to participate in the game at all different levels, as a player, as administrators, as other kinds of volunteers, as coaches, we're just better hockey people for it. So I support Hamish for now playing, but I can't wait to get him back on the pitch as an umpire. There you go. Yeah, there's an answer without a description. Look, if that's the worst that happens today, I'll take it. Okay. Yeah. Or maybe I did that. I'm probably did that. You thought it was luck as in Loch Lomond. Okay. It's funny how you say Loch Lomond like I'm going to understand what the hell that is. I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway. And another thing that was brought to my attention recently is this fundraiser that is happening on July 2nd. Our own Yellow member, Mike McCartney, is going to be umpiring at this game with friend of FHumpires, best friend of FHumpires. He doesn't know it, but Nick Chalky White is, I'm just going to make this happen. I know he watches occasionally. He's just really quiet and lurks in the background. Mike and Nick are going to be umpiring at the Ben Dudley Bowl, which is in memory and tribute to Ben, who really sadly lost his life to a Hodgkin's lymphoma that was diagnosed in 2017 and lost his battle in April. So they are going to hold a charity match to raise funds for Blood Cancer UK on a Just Giving page. That link is in the description and hopefully coming up in the, yeah, this is perfect. And also in the chat here. So if you'd like to contribute, please give that a consideration, because by all accounts, and even just looking through his partner's Twitter feed, they were very active, and his partner still is in the hockey community and just raising money for everybody else. And I think there's nothing better than to continue the work that someone who fought so well and with such joy and appreciation for the time that they had, to do tribute to that and try to make that better for somebody else. So please give that a thought. I would love to see that happen. Okay. Let's move on to, oops, see, I told you something would happen. There we go. Okay, our next topic here. We're racing. Shadowing inside the 5 meters. Now I have 2 clip examples that I'd love to go through.
It's that receive of the ball, and she legally cuts the trail defender off by drawing the ball left to right, and yeah, it's so difficult.
Okay. So from Belgium, Australia earlier in the week, the free hit is taken, and you can see the Belgian defender who committed the foul was caught within the 5 meters initially, and she follows the play. She doesn't just follow the play, but she follows the play very closely and doesn't ever disengage. So there is this a few terms that we use in the English language, but there's probably several ways to describe this. We can call it channeling. We can call it shadowing. If the player is so far away or is far enough away that when they are following, they are not influencing the play whatsoever, then you don't have to, or that shouldn't be considered an infringement in this case. But what we have here is very much some pressure and some channeling that's going on. And the lack of disengagement for the umpire in question here is Cindy Liu from China. She is right on top of this. And even though the ball has traveled 5 meters from where the free hit was taken, there was never a disengagement. And so we don't strictly look for the player to move 5 meters away from the player is moving, but they have to disengage away out of that 5 meter travel space. So hopefully that works. And my goodness, the poll link is pinned above. So I wonder, do we have a poll on this one? Did I take a poll on this one? Yes, we did. Okay. You got to vote really quickly on this, gang. And I know there's a lag and there's a delay, but you're going to have to get your ideas in really, really quickly. 2 windows open, the whole thing. And hopefully you can give me feedback on that. So let's just have a quick look at this and see how it's going to be less than 2 minutes in this case, because we're going to go on very, very quickly. Okay, so now what I have to do is I have to go to, oh, look, I can see like all the votes. Okay, let's go to the next. Wait, that's danger on goal. I need to see the next one. It's not showing me the next one. It's almost as though I could have tested this beforehand. But that seems really, I mean, really, is that what I have to do here? Is test? Ah, yes. It's a different link altogether. There we go. Let's see how we're doing. So 75% of you agree. Free hit attack and a green card. That's excellent. 25% of you would only award a free hit attack. So what I'd like you to consider, for those of you who weren't on the side of giving a card, now at your levels of play, you may need, the best intervention you can take is to give a warning. It might be there that you want to be able to educate the players. They really don't understand what they can or cannot do. But when you start getting to higher levels of play where they really do understand, but they try to pretend they don't, if they have full control or most control over their running path. So for example, they're not stumbling, they're not off balance or something like that. If their action is reckless as to the result of causing a breakdown of play, we're going to want to intervene on that. And it could well be that at higher levels of play, you're going directly to that personal penalty. It depends. I appreciate that you are voting into the future without even seeing the play first. Okay. That is very funny. 2 votes. I mean, it was probably like me and Kat testing or something like that, but there you go. So Stephen, how far would you say the ball has to travel before you ignore that channeling? I think in the past you recall a discussion probably a year ago on the Discord that 10 odd meters was generally fine. I'm not sure if I remember anything like that, but I guess part of the issue is it completely depends. And I hate giving it depends answers, but it really does completely depend on where the attacker is traveling, what kind of options they have available, how are they disadvantaged, where is the best channel for attack, you know, vis-a-vis the options that they have. There's just so many things that come into it, Steve, that I don't think I could say one way or the other. And it's not about distance. You really just have to feel it. I would also be really interested in understanding why any attacker would be dribbling that long. Like 10 meters, and just, I mean, they must have so much space around them. So you know, my mind starts turning into all the different hypotheticals and all the different scenarios you can see, but that probably isn't going to pan out the way that I'm thinking in my head and the way you're thinking in your head. So that's why we always try to look at video, go through the process of here are the principles, this is what we're going to look for, so that we're practicing those principles against what we see so that we can apply them better in our next game. So I hope that helps. Steven, you're on your phone, so you can't vote, but that's a free hit attack and a card every day for you. Excellent. Thank you. And I appreciate you making the comment anyway. I understand that if you're on a phone and unless you have multiple devices or you want to flip away, if you're on YouTube Premium, I highly recommend it, by the way. You could have that window. You should be able to have your YouTube window, you know, still open and hovering above if you're on an iPhone. I don't know how other phones work. Are there other phones? I don't know. And you can go into other apps like your browser or into Discord, and you can vote. So just saying. Okay, let's go to yes, time to download Discord on your phone. Ah, very true. Okay, here's our next scenario,
Great steal from
which is
Kane,
another
step past.
but different
Boris
example.
Ludwig now has to release him. Oh, did he get far enough? He wasn't, but his stick was.
The thing is, he's
The game that
nearly
kept on
2
giving
meters tall.
with
He's only
many,
got
many
to cover
scenarios.
the bases and reach, and then he's covered that 5 meters.
Yeah. And I
We've
think
got a
that's
better
one of the
angle on a
interesting things
replay
that I
here.
think where the tackle was made was probably 5 meters. Watch the reach
No,
there.
no,
Dennis behind him.
I think
Thanks,
he's
Kat.
about 5 meters.
I
Next
isn't
to
he?
the
he's
line.
You know
comfortable
about
with
time?
It looked okay from up here.
Stay there.
Morris Ludwig now has to release him. Oh, did he get far enough? He wasn't, but his stick was.
The thing is,
So given what we saw in the last scenario, and we see where the defender tracks back, now what kind of channel are they occupying this whole time? Are they influencing where that attacker can go as they are backing away? That is part of what we need to consider. Okay, so I'm just going to try to cue this up while you're thinking and you're voting. This should be this one right here. Okay, and I'm going to put this on. I'm going to put this on. Oops. Okay. So if you're an attacker here, the best line that you're looking for is straight into the circle. So for me, as this is playing through, this defender is always active and they're backing up straight through what I think is probably the most appealing channel. So even though they do wait 5 meters, I think, you know, more or less, that's 5 meters in between those two spaces. Before he attempts a tackle, I think that he's never disengaged or he's never stopped influencing the play here. Okay, I'll be interested to hear what you all think about that as well. Okay. Hey, Shane, good to see you. You would have missed it and let play on, but you get, okay. And that's why we're rehearsing. That's why we're practicing these things. Okay, so I am going to take a look at, Kat, it looks like I'm going to have to make, new links for every single one of these. Duly noted. Duly noted. But I do love that you're voting, everybody. So for all of the, let's see, 9 of you who took the vote, let's see how we're doing here. Hopefully this is the right one. Maybe up to 11. I'm okay. nose malfunction. Okay. Poll B data. I got it. Okay. So 9 votes. I have to refresh so I can see where we're currently at. Let's see some more comments here while that's happening. The defender's ahead and yeah, on the ideal route. Thanks, Dane. I agree. Jolt, not only does the retreating defender never disengage, that first stick swing looks like it misses the ball and impacts the attacker's legs. Maybe. There you go. Well, and yeah, it's about languaging. Okay. Just stunned. Okay, somebody else has to pronounce that for me, so I know what that means. Okay, but of the 12 votes that I've got in front of me now, and if I refresh it in here, then we have 2/3 of you looking for the penalty corner there, and 1/3 of you looking to play on. Totally understandable. And if you feel like that has changed for you once you hear an explanation, then, you know, guess what? Unlike the YouTube polls, you can change your vote here. That's not the important thing. The important thing is I just want you to go through the exercise of thinking it through, and then we can move to the next. You know, you can just apply that thinking and do that exercise for yourself. Okay. More announcements. Hope I didn't totally screw that up there. Mr. Denman, on the topic of the PC, would you blow it as soon as the defender started retreating the exact line rather than wait until he tried to play it? I would try to read in that moment exactly how much disadvantage there is and what opportunities exist for that attacker to do something else that's constructive with the ball. So if in that moment I see a good available pass, I am going to give it that opportunity. But of course, if that pass then gets cut off by that retreating defender because they put their stick down and they try to block it, well, you know, now you have a completely sellable PC, but you might be able to see that continue. So that's how I would look at that. All right. As we've talked about in other weeks, don't forget, we are pre-selling the FHU third team match shirt. Pre-sales and the sale pricing on pre-sales, on the sales of the sales of the sales. 15% off until July 1st. So we are making sure we are gathering that interest to know exactly how many we can order. And if you pre-order before July 1st, you will be eligible to win one of these fine headbands thanks to our friends at the reversestick.net, the finest podcasters, hockey podcasters in the world. Matt and John sharing the love and sharing their club experiences as well as analyzing international hockey affairs. So make sure you give them a follow if you haven't listened to the reversestick.net yet. I had the opportunity, one of our new server members, Jocelyn, is in Perth. And I said, hey, you make sure you say hi to my Frio friends in Fremantle Hockey Club. And that's John and Matt. So look at those rear bands. Isn't it clever, the yellow and the red? I know John and Matt didn't do that part intentionally, but oh, and by the way, the yellow and the red are not included because they're just built into the headband. All righty. Oops, I need to make sure I take that off the screen before I go ahead. Okay. Let's see where are we at here. This was a really interesting little scenario. And if you've been following FHumpires for a little while, you know what the answer to this is.
Jump out and about. His stick was on the floor. I think Germany going to...
It's a German referral. Stick is on the ground. They think it's interfered with play. I feel it's part of the pitch. They also want an obstruction. So you can just check the situation.
There is no foul just because of the stick
They
on the floor.
also want an obstruction.
Is there another foul
Just check the
within? That is
situation.
completely
It's just so cute.
Is that going to be
Sorry, Ali,
considered
that
to
was
be
a
an
terrible.
obstruction? can't see it in
A
first
terrible
sight. The ball's then
tribute
back
to your
off Velen.
accent, which is gorgeous.
So the fact the stick comes out the hand isn't a foul. Now, Alison Keogh's explained this really clearly. But as Waller comes in here, is that an obstruction or is the ball still in play? That's then a back stick off the baseline, obviously. Can Tyler Clink see anything in here to give the corner?
So what we're looking
Keogh was
for
really
in this
clear in her
situation
words.
is an understanding, first of all, that dropping the stick as opposed to throwing the stick is not an
Just we'll wait
offense.
till it's gone. Yeah. Oh, no, you'll have time if it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
The ball hasn't hit the stick, but there is obstruction as he's dribbling past, so you can award a penalty corner and they keep the referral.
So it's not.
Okay. A lot of things to like about that explanation from Tyler Clink, Canadian, by the way, who did a nice job of just quickly pointing out that it is not a foul when the ball hits the stick that is on the ground, but in the act of picking up the stick and the way that the stick came up, it actually did slightly obstruct. And there was also a hand, you know, he's, if that's Waller, one of the walls, you know, it in order to grab the stick that's been dropped, there is some interference there. So you can see, and he jumps and then he pushes. So there's enough there that a play on after it's been looked at is going to be difficult. Now, one of the most challenging parts of this is that you have so much to look for when you are the controlling umpire in this situation. There's a lot going on. So keeping yourself as big as you can in terms of your perspective is going to be really important. So you can see things like feet, obstruction, third party, and any weird stuff that does happen to go on with that stick, you can take it into account, all of that as well. Oh, thank you, Raj. It's good to see you. And yes, let's get some more thumbs up. 27 of you. Thank you for joining in on such a busy hockey day. I really appreciate it. And yeah, sorry, I need to spend more time studying the roster. Clearly, this is why I'm not doing color commentary currently. So I'm looking forward to seeing what your survey results are on this one. And if you have any other questions about that, and I think we can look at, I don't think I actually pulled this rule out, but it is 916, I think. And it's not. This isn't scrolling for me. There we go. Oh, come on now. I made my cursor really, really big so I could see it when I'm streaming, because one of my most frustrating things is that I don't know what I'm looking for. Oh, there we go. 916. Okay. So players must not throw any object. Okay. So they can't throw it, but dropping accidentally, or a shin guard dropping out of their equipment or out of their sock as they're running, that is simply play on. And that's an illusion. If we get to extra time today, we're going to be talking about that. All right. Let's have a look at this. And I'm going to refresh this poll, just because I really want to experience how this feels. 7 votes and 100% of you are on the penalty court for obstruction. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we just had our first unanimous poll. I would like to thank all of you for your participation and your uniformity. Way to get it done, friends. Consensus has been achieved. This is amazing. And Stephen, you're continuing it. That's 8 votes. That's 8 votes of consensus. I can't believe we actually got there. That is fantastic. Okay. Let me know how you're liking the pace of this show. This is very this is very different. This is very different, and a little bit disconcerting because I don't feel like I even know what I'm talking about sometimes. It's going fast. Okay. There are some people who are going to be very happy with this. We've got a couple instances here where we're going to look at where the free hit is.
Very much so. Just.
Oh my God, it's GB Germany.
Good pick up from Banderak. Banderak off the back foot.
What a touch that is. That's a corner, that.
Well, that was a great stop from Moritz Ludwig. Saying it's outside.
But it's lifted inside. It's not where it hits in, it's where the danger starts.
Well, I think so. Tyler, I've blown a penalty corner for danger. Germany feel that it's outside that the danger has occurred.
Well, but the
I'll have a look for where the danger is.
From. Anywhere else on the pitch, you go back to where the ball was hit.
Flicked it, and it was lifted from inside the circle.
Okay,
this might
so
give us
have a
better
look.
angle. So the danger is created by the player who lifts it as he steps in here. That's the touch. That's the ball out, and it hits the player outside, but the ball's, well, you can argue it's inside or on the line, but the ball's been lifted inside the circle. It's a corner.
Alison, there's no clear reason to change your decision. Penalty corner, and they lose the referral.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you see there that we've got, this is a bit of a hypothetical because I think you can argue, as Mace pointed out right at the end of that, that the GB player is inside the circle, or, you know, on the line, just inside the circle, as that ball is sent at him in a dangerous manner and or hits him. I'm not sure if it actually did hit him, but there was something there. Actually, no, they did it. They did okay this time. This isn't the one time that I'm going to say anything on that. But the interesting part comes if you consider if that GB player is outside the circle. Okay. And we get this confused a lot because of the aerial rule. So people will say that, well, with the aerial, shouldn't we then be calling the ball as it's going up, because that's the action that causes the dangerous play. And this is the key here. Let's see if I can get to this. This isn't all going to work, is it? Okay, no. That here, what we're seeing is under 9.8, the penalty is awarded where the action causing the danger took place. Surprisingly, that's not as clear as language as it could be. Because you think, well, the action causing the danger is the player who plays the ball. That's not always the case. The action causing the danger could be a way in which a player behaves once the ball arrives at an opponent, for example. That's the action that could cause the danger by infringing on 5 meters, for example. That's kind of that's the spirit that underlies the 5 meter infringement rule on an aerial ball. So when it comes to an aerial that's been launched and then is landing in an area, for example, where there's more than one player from opposing teams, then the action that causes the danger is the fact that as that ball was in transit, the player of the team that threw the ball doesn't recognize that there is no initial receiver there and that they have caused the danger and they need to get out of that space. Okay. So we're not attributing that the action causing the danger is the lift. It's the behavior of the players as the ball is coming down, because they're in there to contest the ball. Okay. So it gets a little bit more complicated than that. So that's something to take into consideration when we get to that scenario. Any questions on that? And it's still not no. Stain is ranking the referrals and seeing whether they are good referrals or referrals that he's going to have a top 15 list. He's going to be putting that on the Discord server in the next couple of days. So thanks, Stain. I really appreciate your efforts on that. A deflected ball that goes deflected high into the circle with several players underneath seems like a good example. That's another one as well, right? So even though the language is nice, clear words, there are still a few different ways. couple different permutations on that. But in that scenario, the action that causes the danger is not something that happens at where the GB defender is. It's actually, you know, the German defender lifting the ball in that instance. Here's our second example. Sorry, that was very loud.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, please check if the foul of the Australian defender was inside or outside the circle. Thanks.
On the line is in the circle. Does look inside, doesn't it, for Wenye?
So what makes this play interesting is that the Australian player who's caught the Belgian player's stick is outside the circle. But the disadvantage and the action that is disadvantageous is inside the circle. So just because the Australian player is outside, you can say, well, I'm not sure which one do I apply. I almost knocked over my hot water there. That would have been bad. You're looking at where the player who wasn't able to play the ball, where were they disadvantaged? Where was the ball playability in that situation? Good words, Keely. And it's, in this case, definitely on the inside of the circle. And Ali, yeah, for the danger spot, it's where the evasive action occurs. And that's probably, in most situations, the right. Well, it could be. It could be. But the action is actually, if, say, a ball is deflected outside the circle, going into a circle, for example, and then the opposing player has to duck, get out of the way, and they're inside the circle, we don't award, like if that player's an attacker, we don't award a penalty corner, do we? We give the free hit outside because that's where the action occurred that caused the danger. So you see the difference there? You don't see a poll number 5. Yeah, probably because Jolt, we just can't vote on everything. And this was more just a, hey, let's talk about it quickly. But there you go. Okay. Who knows? Look, just work with me here. Work with me. We're whizzing through the stuff. Okay. So, last announcement, I think that I have. Yes. All right. Don't forget this thing that we got going on, mission critical positioning. I've been talking about it a lot, as I always do in the watch parties, and comparing things. And we've had the privilege of having Mr. Mike McCartney has been skipping work. I'm not like, am I busting on you, Mike? Am I going to get you fired? I'm sure I'm not. And he's been hanging out Lee Valley and taking video of the umpires to give us that off-camera view to see where they're looking. And this is really, really helpful because we can compare that to, okay, in this situation, what if they were somewhere else? Or are they in a spot where we think they've optimized their ability to call their critical mission, their mission critical area, which is their circle, the highest level of accuracy. So that's been an interesting development in the last few days. So please head into the server and join in that discussion. I'm going to be porting this course over to the Discord server as well. So if you're interested in beta testing that for me, please come on in, let me know, and we will work something out with you because I would love to give that a shot. Okay. What number are we on? Are we on 5? I hope we're on 5 because that's the one I'm going to. I've lost track. Aerial into the circle. Where's the free hit? Yes. Okay, number 5. High. This fine aerial into the circle. There isn't a poll on this one, by the way.
Lifting it. Here is Gawain with a swipe. Oh, we're going to get a penalty corner here. It's 5 minutes and not being fired.
So within the 5 meters, that's a penalty corner.
See the ball coming in here, that's
Doesn't matter. It isn't under control. 5 meters.
judging that Harvey has encroached on the 5. Skill from
So
another.
if you can hear the conversation, for some reason this is moving on to the next scene, so I'm trying to do that. There we go. Okay, if you can hear the conversation, and I think it's Charter that's in net at this point, talking to Kuhn. Now, you know, let me be very clear. This is not shade at Kuhn because he's called the rule according to how it's written. And if he had called it differently and not called a penalty corner, and the Australian defender had made a successful tackle here, undoubtedly Belgium would have gone to referral because they still have it. And there would have been a very difficult decision in front of the video umpire in this case to make. The reason being is that if you were part of the aerials masterclass discussion that I had with David Ames and Bernardo Fernandes and Ernst Bart of the hockey site, we'll have a link somewhere here. There'll be a little card and there's a link in the description to that if you're interested in reading or listening to more discussion about how aerials have changed and what the top players and coaches are looking for and how they're understanding how aerials should be able to be defended or should not be able to be defended with the development of modern skills. This is exactly the kind of scenario that that we were talking about. So what you have is a situation where an attacker has received the ball and they are going to take a mid-air full cut at the ball to shoot on goal. And the defender has actually done a good job in terms of waiting to make sure that the way that the players understand control to be, that he has control. And you can hear Charlie even saying, but he has it under control because he's going to take a shot. He is taking a shot in that moment. And I have a lot of sympathy for what the player is saying here and a lot of sympathy for the umpire as well, because everybody's just, you know, he's just doing his job as it's described. The rule as it currently stands requires, it says the requirement is controlled and on the ground, that 5 meters has to be given for control and on the ground. The game is not played on the ground anymore, not exclusively. And as you reach higher and higher skill levels, it is played in the air more and more. So the argument that this is control, that this should be perceived as being control, I completely agree with, and we need to look at a different way to give the receivers the protection so they can exercise their skills safely, but not to overly penalize defenders. To allow that player to have full control and take a full cut at the ball with open space around them, because that, putting my defender player hat on, that doesn't seem fair at all. And yes, we're all looking for the wording to change. One of the alternatives we talked about in that show that I think we kind of reached a consensus miraculously at the end of it was that I think top players and coaches would like to see the first touch to be enough. That if a player is given the ample 5 meters to safely contact that ball, after that first touch, it should be just game on. And when I think about that, I haven't been able to poke a hole in that yet. So if you have any thoughts in that regard, I'd love to hear you in the comments, in the Discord server. You can go back to that Aerials Masterclass video and watch us really just pick apart this whole rule and lots of clips and scenarios in the same way. So it was a really helpful conversation to have, to hear it from the playing perspective. And we can only hope that the scene leads to the same rule changes. Yeah, as the famous intercept. That's a great point, Stain. So what Stain is alluding to is the World Cup semifinal between Australia and Netherlands, when Eddie Ockenden plucked a ball and intercepted it very safely outside of playing distance, arguably outside of 5 meters as well. But, you know, from some angles, it looked like it was closer than that, and was able to pluck out that interception, barrel down to the other end, and Australia scored a goal that tied the game and sent it to a shootout. And looking at the miraculous, almost, but just it so exciting level of skill that was expressed there. That's what we want to see the game be able to go to. And so long as it's safe, why can't we trend towards that? Are we able to instill that value or that commonality of understanding throughout the levels of hockey? The players know how to do this safely. And regardless of whether you have the skill or not, you're not going to be an idiot about it when you have that scenario presented to you. So just a scenario that I wanted to present to you with food for thought, because it was a big deal. And, you know, Belgium scored this goal and went up to 3-1. And yeah, it was just everybody just sort of doing their job. Yeah, I would absolutely prefer that too. I think that would be much more fair. Okay, how are we doing? It's 1 o'clock. So the GBRvUSA women's game is starting in 10 minutes at Lee Valley. We're going to join that in progress. If you are interested in popping in to the server, we're going to have an all access watch party so that you can partake in the fun and enjoyment and see what it is that our FHU 3T Yellow membership does and how we discuss the game, how we look at the game, and I'd love you to be a part of it. So FHumpires.com/DS. Come on in, and if you are already in the server and you don't normally get the chance to get into the watch parties, we will see you there. And Andy HC is here. So, like, do we need anything else in life? No, we don't. Okay. Number 6, a diving attacker. Question mark.
Guys need to step up and show
I
what
do
they
see
can do.
question
Here
mark.
is Dicker. Dicker into the circle. Puts a little bit too far in front of her. Oh, she's gone to ground now.
For me, she's going to ground here. She has touched the ball, to be fair, but she has endangered another player on the field. And
Okay. Obviously, I'm editing these things out. There was a pretty extensive review about this on the broadcast, and I think that's Mel Clulo who's talking there with I think that's Chris Sharples as well. And there you go. Good to see you, Stephen. Thanks for popping in as always. So one of the things that I first want to indicate as I talk about on a regular basis, that unless we have the triumvirate, we have the 3 things fulfilled on whether the automatic 10-minute yellow card suspension needs to be applied, then we start looking at other factors. And those three things that we're looking for are that we have a player in possession of the ball who is tackled with body contact and it brings them to the ground. Okay. For me, we don't have all 3 of those things because we don't have a player in possession of the ball. This is a 50-50 situation. Now, that doesn't mean that if a player goes to ground, body contact, dangerous, all those things, that we wouldn't award a 10-minute yellow card. Absolutely, that may exist. But what I'm saying is the automatic criterion does not apply for me in this situation. Okay. And let's see. You feel the China-Dutch game all over again? Not quite, Andy, because I think Stephen has seen something that a lot of us missed the first time that we watched this, including me. And let's see if I'm going to be able to do this. I'm not 6. Are we in 6? Yeah, we're in 6. Okay, that's helpful. And let's see if I can pull it up here. Oh yeah, it's working. It's working, everybody. Okay, so as we're scrolling here, from this angle, you don't see it. But when we watch right here, and I'm going to see if I can slow this down. Oops. I took it back. I'm going to slow that down. Scrolly, scrolly, scrolly. Okay. So in this moment, right here, the player is in control and they're reaching out for the ball. And it doesn't look, it looks like she's going to extend, but it doesn't look as though that she's preparing to really dive out for the ball. But what happens next? She stubs her toe. And that knocks her off balance. So Celine saw this correctly. I think this is an accidental trip that gets in the way. There's definitely a foul there. This player has been obstructed from continuing to get to the ball and to play. And I know that you commented that before I showed you the slow-mo and showed you the toe stub and all that sort of thing. Okay. But for me, I think that this is properly seen as a free hit. And I think we have to keep in mind that, yes, we attribute responsibility for choices that are made by players to do reckless things. Is this reckless in the moment? I don't think so. She trips. So simply a free hit. And in this situation, play on. So let's see if you voted in this poll. Let's see, diving attacker. We've got 6 votes. Get your votes in real quick, everybody. Let's see what we got. A 2-minute warning, that'll be a 1-minute warning. A 45-second warning. Let's see how it looks. And 50% are looking for a free hit for the USA or an advantage. And 33% of you are looking for a 5-minute yellow card. And 16% looking for a green card. Okay. Understandable. And now Rachel can't unsee the stub. Yeah. Look around the body foul. Ah, Rabu, very nice to see you. I'm glad you're umpiring. Fantastic. Okay. So just a reminder, I think, for all of us when we're watching these situations is to also give a little bit of a benefit of the doubt to the umpire who's on the pitch, because sometimes they see things that from our angle, from broadcast, from the way that we hear the commentators speak about a situation leads us to go in a different direction. So, and now you can't see it. You can't unsee it. Okay. We're doing pretty good, everybody. Let's go on to danger on swing before goal. This is going to be harder. This is 2 clips.
Oh, and kept out by Charter. Oh, it's a massive swing. No, the reverse. Oh, wow. Thibaut Stopperks.
What's the question? It's dangerous on the swing from the guy at the top. That's the ball.
Okay.
For me, it wasn't dangerous. Yeah, so we're just dangerous.
There was a lot going on. I'm just going to go to the replay section here. There was a lot going on in this moment because there had been a lot of conversation between the umpires and the players. And Belgium is very unhappy that Australia is taking a video referral here. They think that they were out of time. And for some reason, it was really bothersome that it was Govers who came from the center line to come ask for the referral. And because there was a gap in time there, the umpires consider when they see the signal, that's when the request for the referral comes in. And then they go to the player and then they find out, okay, what is your referral for? So Belgium was really unhappy with this because they're like, oh, the guy involved, you know, nobody in the circle was upset, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really matter. But what happened was, because Martin was having a very fulsome conversation with all the players right around that, you couldn't hear what the referral was for. And in this moment, here's Charter again, and he's not happy with that. And he literally says, so he needs to get hit in order for that to be considered dangerous, is what his reply is. So I'm interested in knowing what you think about that. And Dawson's the player here who gets, oh no, yeah, he is the player. No, he's next to the player who gets close. When you consider the other things that we allow at this level, it's difficult to conceive of this. The defender is at full stretch. The tip of their stick is in line with where the ball travel is. So, and he's leaning out. So it's not like his stick is closer to his body. And I think that's where you see that, you know, it's a stick and an arm length, or it's, if he's reaching, it's sort of a stick and half an arm length away from the danger area of the head. And so I can see why this could be a play on situation. If you're looking for something, yeah, we're doing Discord polls now. I hope you like them. So I'm interested in your thoughts and where you're going with this, because really it's 50-50. And where your gut leads you is going to be informed by what you've been seeing at this level for this game, this season, your career at the level that you're umpiring. And that's where the feeling of the umpire on the pitch becomes so important, because they've built on experience. They have a body of data behind them as to what they've seen that the players are able to do and what they're not able to do. And when we look at a situation like this in isolation, we don't have that appreciation. We don't have that same angle there. Okay. Yeah, it's very, very fast. Rachel, you'd allow this at this level, but lower levels, especially juniors, you're much more likely to call danger. Absolutely. Andy wants a goal for that one as well. And Joel, the defender got the tip of the ball, which is why the attacker missed, but you don't see the swing of the attacker's stick being close to the player. And no evasive action either. It's an interesting thought, because evasive action isn't the requirement, it's an and. So danger can still exist when the player can't or doesn't take evasive action, because you can see instances where the player doesn't even have time to take evasive action, like in that situation. Like that happened really, really fast. So I can see why, you know, he's fully committed to getting there. And does that prevent him from continuing to play? Is there a disadvantage to the danger? And I know it seems weird to conceive of it that way, but that is what we're looking for. Did it disadvantage the player because they were taking evasive action, legitimate evasive action, instead of continuing to play? Okay. So it's not just the notion of blood, it's that it affects the way that the players can continue. Okay. Stain, you can understand why Australia went upstairs, but yeah, it is always risky, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So, okay, let's have a look. I've got 9 votes. 9 votes. And let's see how we're doing. It appears to me that 78% of you agree with the goal decision, and 22% of you say no goal. So understandable. And just as long as you're working through the same steps, the same process that we're working through, and some of your opinion, some of your gut feel is going to be informed by what you're accustomed to seeing on the pitch. So I totally understand. And hey, a very highly skilled umpire told you once, defense benefits more from a free hit than to play advantage. What's your take on? Okay, so we're gonna hold this question. We're gonna pin this, and hopefully I can come back to it. We're in a very tight schedule here, Alistair, And I might get you to come into the watch party, which is an all access, and you can ask that question again while we're talking about it. Okay. And of course I'm right. Of course I'm right. I own a URL that says KeelyWasRight.com. It's true. The player didn't have time for evasive action, but often in cases where there is danger and there wasn't time beforehand, you'd often see a flinch or similar as a reaction. Yeah, that's very possible. Okay. And Discord maths are better than YouTube maths. Boom, that's a diss. YouTube, your math sucks. YouTubes. Okay, let's have a look at the second scenario here.
And it comes, it's Payne. Good save from Payne.
So shots come in, the saves happen. I want to play the ball.
Make sure you go vote.
Swung and missed. I've taken evasive action. Therefore, it's a dangerous swing and miss because it's impacted my play. Danger for the swing and stick. He swung and missed. I took evasive action. That's what. So it's dangerous. Yes. Yeah. Because I was going to. Okay. Thank you.
We are looking for danger. What was it for you? Did you think it was danger or not?
For me, it is not, but I'm not really sure. So.
Okay, I have a look if it was dangerous or not.
This angle, as it comes into Ollie Payne, it then comes back out again. Now Velen's there, that swing. That to me is the danger on Banderak. It's caused him to take legitimate action. Banderak on the left post. Watch how he reacts as Velen there swings. He's backed away, Banderak, so could he have got to Mascor? It's a little subjective. Is that going to be considered to be dangerous?
Steve, who's had the swing. I don't know.
At the it's a real 50-50 because I can see why Banderak does that there. That is him flinching on Stave's action. So where does that stick go? The ball comes up, and then that always looks much worse in slow-mo as well. Banderak does flinch, but I'm not sure it impacts on whether he could have got to Mascor.
So if you can hear Mace's description clearly through the audio here, I think he does a good job in talking through the factors that we're looking for. He talks about legitimate evasive action.
How close is he?
From this angle, from the side, it looks a lot less unsafe, doesn't it? So if you were Herman on the opposite angle, you may feel exactly the same way. And now compare that to like the danger situation. Actually, I should have lumped all these together, all three of them.
If you think about with the overhead rule,
Production.
It talks about playing distance. I don't think that's within playing distance.
Does he then impede Banderak? I'm not sure he'll get there anyway.
Is this any more dangerous than the proximity of the players than what we saw in that very first clip?
There is no clear reason to change the decision. It's too far away to be dangerous. So the goal stands and they lose the referral.
Okay. So, Stephen, you're asking, does the attacker number 11 also obstruct the defender's stick in the air? Now, that was a secondary sort of consideration. And in the edit, you may have lost a few of the little conversations. First of all, Banderak does a very good job in explaining and articulating, because in the moment, you can see he's like, "Hurrah!" And then he just... So, congratulations. That's fantastic mental training that went into this moment. And he's able to say, I've taken legitimate evasive action. Like, he uses the terminology and everything. So I'm like ready to slip Banderak a whistle. I think he's all over this action. So if you feel as I do that maybe the swing itself is not sufficient, and think again that it's not that he actually has to be in danger, but there is a perception of danger, because it's the perception of the player on the receiving end who takes legitimate evasive action. If they truly think that they're in danger in that moment, even though it turns out that that stick pulls away from them a little bit, rather than just being able to continue, it comes down to, again, like I was talking about earlier, was the defender disadvantaged by flinching away, by getting out of the way of that swing? And I think you can make a much more solid case here if you put that idea together, that that's an issue. The next part that Stephen is alluding to here is that there's the potential that the attacker, as he goes across, as he jumps, there's just a touch of a third party obstruction. So that knocks them a little bit out of the way. But there's also, I think Van der Ack is also anticipating that there is going to be a ball coming his way, and he's not going to stand in front of Payne and Mazzarella, whichever one it is at that moment. He's not going to stand in front of them as that ball's coming in. Okay. For Jenny, you'd probably call the danger there. Let's see, the front angle was dangerous, but the side angle doesn't appear dangerous. Yeah, it is difficult. Why does he eject his mask while jumping his back? I'm not sure that he's ejecting his mask. I don't know how it comes off, but I don't think he's like, wow, I'm going to take it off with one arm and I'm going to throw it. And I think it just kind of gets knocked. So I don't think we need to really go through that. And the perception of danger is what tipped you towards it, Jenny. Okay, I understand. Rabu, you think in addition you could say there was a level of obstruction. And I guess maybe when you put those two things together, you're like, well, you know, on the balance, there's enough disadvantage there that I would call it. So let's see. I hope everybody's had a chance to vote on this one. Guys, I've got 10 minutes to spare. This is so exciting. Okay. And 72% of you are saying no goal. I can understand that. I can understand it both ways. And what I really liked about how Celine approached this one is that her question, she asked the question back to Herman because she wanted to get his sense as the umpire there in the moment on the field, just a couple meters away from all of this happening. Did you feel it was dangerous in the moment? And Herman's like, honestly, I'm just not sure. I think he was even too close to it to really perceive everything that needed perceiving, you know? And no blame on him. That's exactly where you should be in that kind of situation. It's just the way that the ball fell and in the moment and all that sort of thing. But really nice question back. Because if Herman had said definitively, look, I didn't see it as dangerous at all, but please have another look at it for me, gives a much different sort of feeling to Celine about what she's going to be taking into account. So I quite like that. Okay. And I'll just take another quick stab and make sure we didn't get any more votes coming in. But yes, 75% of you now are up to the no goal. So gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Okay, this could be fun. I don't know if I've set this up right. This one's going to be fast because it's not an opinion poll.
Having none of that.
But I wanted to show it to you.
Collins getting tight to that baseline.
So, what's the question?
It's up off them, dangerous off them.
Dangerous?
Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Interesting, yes. I think he has a point there, but
okay.
Probably.
I will have a look if it's dangerous for Australia.
Sorry?
I will have a look if it was dangerous for Australia.
No, of the... Yeah,
yeah, of the Belgian stick to the Australian player.
Yeah.
Mishi is on this right from the start. She knows what's going on. So what we have is a ball that is tipped by a Belgian player, a Belgian defender, and it goes past another Belgian player and then lands gently down in the circle for Australia. And I think what's complicated about it...
First, it wasn't dangerous to Australia, and the aerial ball was received outside, so you can award a free hit out, and Australia loses.
Wait. So, wait. I got this. Wait. Let me check this. I got this, okay? Michi?
Yeah.
All right. So, what you're saying, that it was dangerous of the stick of the defender of Belgium?
No, it wasn't dangerous.
It was not dangerous?
It was only dangerous for a Belgian player, and it can't be dangerous for your own teammate.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
So much going on there. Okay. But, this scene isn't set up properly. But there you go. What you've seen there, what you've witnessed, is the video umpire watching the situation as it unfolds and immediately saying, there's like 3 possibilities. Okay, is that Australia made it dangerous and therefore Kuhn's decision to blow a free hit out was correct in the first instance. End of story. Second possibility is that the ball is lifted by a Belgian defender and it's dangerous to Australia, which means it's a penalty corner. Factually, that did not occur. So that can't be a ground for a penalty corner. And the last possibility is ball played by Australia, raised by a Belgian defender. The evasive action is taken by a Belgian teammate and then falls to Australia. Basically, Australia referred on danger to a teammate. And they lost. And it was a difficult one to explain at the moment. But as it was occurring, I was applauding Mishy's perception of everything in that moment. And she did the best that she could to explain it concisely, but thoroughly, so that everybody in the stadium could understand what was going on. And I hope that you got that as well. This is the one I don't know if this referred to the same one or not. Okay, 5 minutes, and you guys, I'm going to do this. Okay, we're going in extra time, folks. Wait, we're going in extra time. I need more sound effects on that one. Okay, first one. Another little knowledge bomb for y'all. This was the first time I have witnessed a goal being scored or not being scored after the ball hits penalty corner protective equipment in the goal. Ball is struck by the GB player. It deflects off PC equipment that has fallen off a German player and goes into the goal, and Germany is furious because they don't know that it's their responsibility to make sure that their equipment doesn't change the trajectory of the ball. And it's very clear that if the ball hits any discarded equipment, such as a hand protector, knee pads, or face mask, a free hit should be awarded outside or a corner if it's inside the circle, but it's advantage. So the ball will continue to play and the goal should be awarded. And just checking with Rule 12.5 is that if the ball hits a piece of equipment lying in the circle and a probable goal is prevented, it would be a penalty stroke in that situation. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the rules pertaining to penalty corner equipment. Yes, way to go, Mishy. That was excellent. The ones that worked were the ones I was making. Oh, okay. That's very interesting. I'll have to have a look at that. On the theme of throwing equipment and such, this one was sent to me by Alex Vree from the Instagrams. This rather temperamental human being is not happy that this attempted tackle has been potentially broken down the play. And when the shin guard is lying in her way, she kicks it at the umpire and strikes her. We know, thanks to an episode that I will link to in the cards up above, that has been confirmed by the FIH, that if any object is thrown, kicked, discarded, and hits an umpire, a yellow card must be awarded. And in this instance, the umpire awards that yellow card. I think because of the high degree of intentionality, it's not like she accidentally kicked the shin guard. She took a really healthy football, just sports ball all the way. She was punting for the extra point right there. And that to me would be a 10-minute yellow card. That's where I would go with that. But there you go. Yes. What? Okay. And the last play I wanted to bring to your attention, this came up, this is from Boss F Hockey's Instagram feed. It's a penalty corner setup. but there are no defenders. And there's music and such describing it. The play is being set up and the ball comes in and is stopped and the goal is scored. Is this allowed? Yes, it is. There is no minimum number of players who have to defend. If the goalkeeper is on the pitch, they are required to be on the goal line. That is the only thing. I am assuming, I'm going to surmise from the situation that the whole reason that the team is basically not going to defend this penalty corner is because they had subbed off or their goalkeeper, which the only goalkeeper they had who was kitted was suspended from play. So they didn't have a fully kitted goalkeeper to defend this penalty corner with. And they needed to just decide that they were going to opt for safety, that the goal being scored didn't matter, and they were going by that. Yeah, Ali, that's exactly the scenario that I alluded to that we covered when Kat got hit in Argentina with the mask that was discarded by Germany, I think it was. But we will link to that. So if you want to go revisit that episode and the conversation that we had around that, I would invite you to do so. So yes, this is perfectly legal if there is not a kitted goalkeeper on the defending team. But if there is, the rules technically would require that fully kitted goalkeeper to be there, but no minimum other field players have to join that goalkeeper in defending this play. All right, friends. That takes us exactly to 1:30. What? I'm hitting sound effects that apparently y'all can't hear, but I'm very excited. I'll add them in post. I will not. Thank you very much for joining in today. I would love to hear your feedback on this. Make sure you drop a comment. If you're Replay Squad, you can add it here, but it's better to come into the Discord because that's where I can, like the whole community can get involved in the conversation. You drop it here and it gets lost in the either of YouTube comments. And I know it's good for the algorithm, but I'm more interested in what's good for the community. So I'd love to see you in there. We are going to go straight into the special all access watch party, GB and USA. Just give me a couple minutes. I have to shut some things down and I have to obviously get the stream set up, and it's a thing. It's a thing. Okay. But come on in and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that was pretty exceptional. I'm not going to lie. Don't they just have to be in their half? No, the rule specifies, because if they're there, they have to be on the line in between the two goalposts. We can go check the rules. We can talk about this more in the server. Let's do that. Okay. Thank you very much. That's the address for the server. It's been awesome. We have so much more coming up for you. So let's get this Pro League wrapped up in style over the next week. Thanks for joining in and enjoy the rest of your hockey in the next coming days. See you next Wednesday.